welcome to a bonus episode of Good Game. I'm Hex. I've been lucky enough to work on Good Game for almost 5 years now. During that time, I've enjoyed so many games, but tonight I'm going to revisit a small handful that have had the biggest impact on me. Plus, I wanted to share some of my favourite moments from the last 4 seasons, as well as look behind the scenes to give you a better idea of how we make the show. But first, let's look at some games. For me, the games that resonate most need to have really believable characters and good writing. Nothing takes me out of a game like awful dialogue.
This isn't a gun, it's a comrade.
You feel better?
My husband's still gone. I think that'll hurt forever.
Dad, I'm scared. I need help.
You're 7 years old, David. Stop acting like a baby.
But when a developer takes the time to really bring a character's performance to life, well, that's when I sit up and take notice. The first game I want to talk about is Noire. Playing that game was like having my own personal time machine. Welcome to Hollywood land, where everyone is a liar and you are the justice that weeds out their selfish and criminal intentions. It's the late 1940s and the effects of the war are still present. It's a time of violence and corruption. There's exciting action, red herrings, and some very adult themes. This game is not for the faint of heart.
I've been around some, son. You got some evidence that proves I stole that butterfly from that woman?
The game used really advanced motion capture tech to transplant the actors' expressions in uncanny detail. But the really clever part was using these in-game performances to judge whether or not a suspect was telling the truth.
He doesn't include me in his business.
Really suspicious.
They trust her to take care of me.
Yeah, it can be a challenge to tell who's lying in a town full of actors.
Yeah.
In a question, you have 3 options: truth, lie, or doubt. And it can be tricky to know when to choose lie or doubt. You really have to listen to the last thing your suspect says. And if you know they're lying, but you can't prove it, then choose doubt, because you might get lucky.
Did your wife ever go out by herself? To bars, nightclubs? No.
And I genuinely felt bad when I falsely accused someone of lying. You know, you really feel for these characters. And for a game to evoke that kind of emotional response from you is so rare. And here it happens in like every second scene.
I don't know if he intended to leave me or if it was just a fling.
I can't go past mentioning the Uncharted series when it comes to motion capture and character acting. Actor Nolan North became synonymous with the game's protagonist Nathan Drake, with expert delivery of those witty one-liners. And it showed us just how much these character performances become a part of our gaming experience.
Drop your weapons. Yeah, I don't think so.
Nathan Drake, is there anything he can't do? Once again, he's hunting down treasure, being double-crossed by bad guys, performing a number of ridiculous stunts, and of course, cheating death at every turn. Interaction between the characters in the game is beautifully human also, which is partly due to some superb animation, particularly in the eyes, which normally lets things down, and partly due to Nolan North's expert voice acting, which really brings the character of Drake to life. And Nolan has done a lot of voice acting for games from Desmond from Assassin's Creed to Jason in Shadow Complex, but I'll always associate him with Nathan Drake. I mean, to me, Nolan is Nathan, and all of his witty lines and clever dialogue just really brings a unique quality to the character.
How are we gonna get across 600 miles of impossible wasteland?
It's in the middle of the desert. So technically, it'd be about 300 miles.
But it's not just the performances that I loved in Uncharted 3. The pace of the action really is non-stop. Nate can't take 2 steps without something exploding. It's like a rule the game lives by. Every ledge will break and leave you inches from falling to your death. Every building collapses or burns. Every boat sinks, punches land with a weighty thud. And Drake has some great finishes where he grabs a pin from a guy's grenade, then kicks him away and then watches him explode.
Or he just kicks them like a football.
Hey, Sully.
How you doing, sweetheart?
Oh, no. Sorry, that's sort of frowned upon here.
Oh, right.
You two can hold hands, though. Oh, and I shouldn't be worried about what's in those bags, right?
Of course not. No.
Yeah. Not yet, anyway.
Nathan Drake. He's a tough act to beat, but if there's one action hero who can, It's Lara Croft. I had high hopes for this game, Barjo. You know, when those first few concept sketches started to come through of this more relatable adventurer, I really started to feel like this could be the butt-kicking female adventurer that we've all been waiting for. What I didn't anticipate, however, is that what we'd end up with is what was, quite frankly, one of the most exciting gaming experiences I've ever had.
You can do it, Laura. After all, you're a Croft.
I don't think I'm that kind of Croft.
Sure you are.
The Tomb Raider reboot added new dimension to the idea of an action hero, crafting a backstory that took us on a journey from humble archaeologist to death-defying Tomb Raider.
I hate tombs.
Mocap actor Camilla Luddington portrays this younger, more naive version of Lara just wonderfully. Early in the game, her situation seems hopeless, and that sense of despair is palpable.
There was this crazy man Roth and a dead body.
She comes across as vulnerable and human, but not weak, which I think is bang on target. And you're involved in just about every stage of the drama with some kind of quick-time action, but it's never tedious. There is this seemingly perfect balance between all the blockbuster action and the sections where you're just left to your own devices to take out goons and climb through and explore the environment with all its hidden chambers. Well, with this brilliant reimagining of Lara, she really is one of the most powerful, relatable, yet truly human, irrespective of gender, heroes that I've ever encountered in a game. This experience manages to be exciting, mature, gritty, and well-paced, all while showcasing a whole host of fluid mechanics and animations that just bring this gripping story to life almost flawlessly.
Oh, God!
Part of what I loved about the new Lara is how much more believable she was, having both strength and a beautiful vulnerability. The very same qualities drew me to Jodie in Beyond Two Souls.
You play as Jodie, a girl who, from the moment she was born, has been linked with an entity. A kind of poltergeist spirit that drifts along beside her. Jodie names the entity Aiden, and as the player, you can choose to inhabit Aiden just about at any time, to move through walls, disturb objects, and even occasionally possess other human beings.
These are skills that sound pretty useful to the government, however, who have in fact been training Jodie to harness Aiden's abilities since her childhood.
Very good, Jodie. Let's try something else.
Jodie's gifts bring with them alienation, and it's heartbreaking to witness the loneliness of her childhood years, particularly through Aiden's voyeuristic, ghostly gaze.
Susan, that thing is like an uncontrollable animal. We have no idea what it's capable of.
The various ages of the character are expertly captured by Ellen Page. They all feel so different. Jodie is a child, facing the nightmares that slip through from the other realm. Jodie is a rebellious, moody teen.
I didn't ask to be different. I just want to go out and have friends and be like other girls my age.
You'll never be like them.
You know, it's just rare to play a video game character as fleshed out as Jodie.
Hello?
Nathan?
Jodie, where are you?
The scene where Jodie is preparing for a date was one where I suddenly felt real ownership over the decisions I made for her, even though there were silly things like choosing what music to play or what to wear. Because I wanted her to be herself, and I suppose I related to that situation and the normalcy of it all. And Jodie's yearning for a normal life is ever present.
Jodie, I think there's something wrong with Aiden.
Give me a second. I'm fed up with you and your goddamn jealousy.
The story was dark, at times terrifying. The relationship between Jodie and Aiden is so complex.
Stop that, Aiden. I told you I didn't want to play with you anymore.
And it's a game that made me feel things, real things.
Tired of fighting, yeah. Tired of fighting. Fighting for a lost cause.
I can safely say I've never played anything like it. Now, obviously, we're not all about serious critique on the show. We also try to have fun with our reviews and feature segments. Maybe sometimes a little bit too much fun. Vagine!
I need your threads, man.
Cheers.
This cannibal party's going off!
Yeah, man, you want some brains? Woohoo! Like when I got to live out my X-Men dreams as Storm. I call upon the power of wind and thunder!
Where are my underpants?
There was also that time we visited the Wild Wild West. Howdy, partner, what can I get you?
I'm here about the bounty.
Touché, Ricochet. And in our Bond special, I got my femme fatale on.
You don't know what he's capable of. You don't know fear.
Mostly it was cool though because I got to kick Goose in the chest. Also, I always relish any chance to bust out the old bow and arrows.
I'm sorry, Hex, due to occupational health and safety regulations, you are no longer permitted to fire a bow and arrow within the confines of the ABC.
What?
But, all is not lost, I have these ABC-approved bow and arrows that you can use, so I'll just take that.
Oh, just be careful, that's expensive.
That one, there you go. Wear the hat.
Oh, Lara didn't have to wear a hat.
Safety is the #1 priority. You ready, Goose?
I didn't get a hat. Is that
ready? Fire! Double tens.
It's just a disappointment all round.
Double tens.
Oh, and who could forget the time I decided to go on Monty Python on Barjo?
Not so fast, Hex! The blade is mine.
Barjo, you don't have any arms or legs.
Yes, I do. They're just resting. Now, how about you?
That was one of our messier shoots. And it's always fun to look back at our various review shenanigans. Look! Ah, it's me! Oh my god, where am I going? So much space! Whoa! Yes! Oh! Get up there! That's bollocks.
Bollocks!
So small. Ah! Spider!
It's time to settle up for the Red Dead Redemption review.
Well, saddle up, partner. I'll dig it on.
It's a digging.
Yoo!
I call it Kaplunk. Do you want a game?
Sure, I mean,
No!
Oh, we can show it. You've been warned. And now here's Goose with the news.
Really?
Oh, come on.
Shh, bientôt l'été.
Whoa!
That's good.
You don't sound sorry.
Can't see.
Careful. Camera needs that.
I've never seen superheroes get so tattered and beaten up before. Can we...
Scarecrow's down there.
Can you just bring it back? Got plenty of time for that. Well, it's no secret that I'm a huge fan of medieval fantasy. Give me a sword, an untamed landscape crawling with creatures, and I'm ready for adventure. But never before had that world been so beautifully brought to life, in my opinion, than in The Witcher 2. This is just classic fantasy done to perfection. Dragons, forest adventuring, epic battles, magic, romance. It was like someone had just reached into my imagination and pulled out everything I love about this genre and then just put it in a game as I'd pictured it. And talk about an ass-kicking lead protagonist. Fwah.
I'm mad enough to admit he's dreamy.
He sure is. But really, it was all those perfect fantasy details that really pushed this into one of my all-time classic games. Gearing up for a big battle, downing the potions you've just prepared, and spelling up, is there anything more thrilling, Badge?
It's pretty exciting. I love the combat too, and they've completely changed the system from the first game.
Barjo, I'm hooked. This is the perfect combination of compelling story and challenging gameplay. A truly wonderful RPG experience. Of course, when it comes to monsters, weapons, and fantasy adventure, Dragon's Dogma was also right up my alley. I started out as a strider, and I always go the rogue hunter option, and I evolved eventually into a ranger and then a magic archer. Oh my god, Badge, so cool. I had daggers with a whole host of insane attacks, slicing and dicing, tossing targets into the air and firing explosives at them, aerial dashes. My bow would rain arrows down on trolls, but I could also play at mage with a staff, which let me do this. And this. I love the fact that I could begin a fight with a mage's staff and then switch to daggers halfway through. This gave me a wonderful mix of ranged attacks, but then getting up close and personal by utilizing the game's awesome grab mechanic to climb up onto the beast and attack its head as it thrashed around. And that sense of accomplishment you get when you take an enemy down is just so much more satisfying. Sure, the game had its share of flaws, but that wild and deadly landscape just kept calling me back in to quest again and again. Of course, my weapon of choice is usually the sword or the bow and arrows, but my other great genre love has got to be sci-fi. And when I think sci-fi, I think Mass Effect. Transitions from action to cutscenes are unmatched. It's just so fluid, and that camera swing to let you know it's go time is just wonderful.
All right, let's go. How many civilians are dying while they wait for us to make the first move?
While I've enjoyed each game, I've always struggled a little bit to connect with Shepard and the storylines, and I think part of it has just been because of male Shep, because 10 hours in I switched to Fem Shep and I just started having a massively better time.
I'm Commander Shepard with the Alliance. I'm here to help.
I agree, Fem Shep is loads better, or in my case, Goth Shep. I mean, she just sounds more intelligent somehow, and you believe her more.
I'm just a soldier, Anderson. I'm no politician.
Although she's quite serious, all of the mouth options are downturned and frowny, and I would have appreciated a few extra hair options. I'm glad I could rock that black lipstick again, though. But as well as all the work they put into Fem Shep and the rest of the cast, I also appreciated just how much they refined the combat.
Go, Commander! I'll cover you from here!
I mean, I remember how restrictive Mass Effect 1 felt, and this feels so much more open in comparison. It's come a long way. There's such immediacy to the action sections. You know, it's go, 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 and I love the way the situation just changes on the fly, and usually for the worse. It does start out as a bit of a slow burn, doesn't it? But once the action ramps up and all of the threads of your story decisions start to come together, it just blows you away, and there's no turning back, and there's certainly no putting it down.
They will advance until our last city falls, but we will not fall. We will prevail.
What an epic trilogy that was. It's going to be so exciting to see what direction they head in with the next Mass Effect. Taking a break from games for the moment, we've never really had the opportunity to show you what goes on behind the scenes here at Good Game. So when we sat down to make this special episode, we figured now would be the perfect time. Many of you have wondered how we make the show each week. Well, loads and loads of gaming is a big part of it, but there's actually a lot more that goes into making a weekly TV show. Long hours and lots of hard work from our team behind the scenes. So I thought I'd show you at least a little peek into my role in the Good Game machine. As soon as I'm up and dressed, it's time to start the day. Good morning. Good morning. It begins, of course, with the games. I settle in for a long gaming session, taking notes as I go so I don't leave anything out of the review. If any of the games have multiplayer, I'll jump on for a bit of co-op with Barjo. This can be about as stressful as it is fun. Stop it!
It looks so painful the way you land.
I know, I come crashing to the ground. I take so much damage from it as well. If I can, I'll try and fit in some exercise because my job pretty much involves sitting on my butt all day. And, you know, it's important to stay active. And let's be honest, I like to eat. The Good Game office is a windowless nerd dungeon in the ABC. But what we lack in natural light, we make up for with inspired enthusiasm and, above all, a deep-seated passion for games. Have I mentioned that we're big Star Wars fans? Barjo and I share the same cubicle pod, which also doubles as a set sometimes. Barjo's pretty great. Well, sometimes he's a bit annoying, but I wouldn't have him any other way. At the beginning of each week, the office is abuzz with production meetings and script reads as we prepare for the studio shoot ahead. See, I feel like that's a bad comparison. I feel like that is saying the opposite of what I just said. Studio days start off with an early makeup session. Usually I fall asleep. A quick check of the scripts, and then it's off for a day in the red chair. Lunchtime in the Good Game office is essentially a giant group bonding session. It's a good time to catch up and chat about, well, anything really. But the conversation usually turns to games pretty quickly.
Yeah, Stephen got me in touch with it.
Then it's back to the studio. But the show isn't made after we shoot the reviews. No, that's just the start. We capture all of our game footage as we play the game. Then we have to go back through all of the footage and create a detailed log for the editors so that they know which specific shots to use. Sometimes we have to re-voice certain parts of the show in a sound booth. Then, once the editors have cut the review together, we can sit with them to make sure all of the game footage fits the review just perfectly. So we're working on the reviews non-stop for most of the week. Then, once everything is finished, the last point of call is the sound mix, where the audio is adjusted and the last changes are made before it goes to air. And then it starts all over again the next week. Of course, this is just me. Every member of the team is busy with some aspect of the show, working together to make each episode of Good Game ready for TV each week. People always ask me what my favourite part of this job is. Playing video games for a living is great fun, but really, the best part is getting to work with these guys. And that's the end. Well, we've touched on some great character performances in games, but now I'd like to delve a little deeper into emotional storytelling. It's surprising that a game like Journey, although perhaps deceptive in its simple appearance, still had the ability to be so universally affecting. Every now and again a game comes along that's incredibly simple in concept, but still manages to create a thoroughly rich and emotional experience. The PSN downloadable title Journey, created by that game company, is one of those games. It's the adversity of the environment you have to overcome, the joy of uniting with this stranger in a strange land, and just the elation that overcomes you as you spiral through the air when you get lifted up on the wind. Largely, I think it's the music that played the biggest part in creating an emotional response in me. That beautiful ebb and flow of strings and orchestral movements that seems to be timed perfectly with each shift in the landscape. Barjo, I'm not a crier, I want that known, but just the music, it was so moving. I admit it, I cried a little bit.
What it was?
Shut up.
I bawled my eyes out.
Speaking of surprises, the last game I expected to be affected by was Spec Ops: The Line, and yet it left a profound impact. I think both of our first impressions of this game was that it was a pretty standard squad-based military shooter. A few chapters in, and you soon begin to realize that The Line has something very different to say, and what it does is really quite powerful.
Now's our chance, Walker. We got an open path straight to gold.
There are certain events that take place in this game, moral choices that you must make, and a character arc that you must follow, which is both shocking and surprising.
What's going on here?
Survival, Captain. Plain and simple.
I was absolutely floored to be playing a shooter that actually questioned the morals of the genre. And I think when a game's narrative is strong enough to draw your attention away from the less desirable mechanics, well, that's quite an achievement.
Fuck! Take cover!
Barjo, I just became so intent on getting to the end of this affecting story that I was way more focused on why things were happening than the technicalities of the shooting.
Hostile down!
The game is holding up a mirror to gamers and saying, this is what you're actually doing when you're playing a game like this, and are you okay with that?
They say it now. These people want us gone.
You should get out of here. Leave these people to grieve.
Yeah, I think that's the least we can do.
Of course, now when I think of truly immersive storytelling in video games, I can't help but remember The Last of Us.
You're finish him off! Get him still!
Fireflies.
Every animation for every action in this game is absolutely perfect. I have never seen motion capture done quite this beautifully, Barjo, especially in the cutscenes. It shows how important it is to capture the actor's movement and voice at the same time, to get those real human moments from these characters.
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone except for you.
But I think what impressed me even more is how much of the story is told not through cutscenes. There are incredible moments where characters lead you through the environment as you converse, pausing occasionally while you interact with things or catch snippets of conversation.
If you want, we can take them riding there.
But leaving you in control, making you feel like you're constantly playing a vital role in a story that's unfolding around you.
Okay, that's good. Slowly.
This game for me felt like the culmination of everything I wanted from the last console generation. It just had that perfect balance of complex characters, narrative, and gameplay, a true testament of how far video games have come.
So is that everything you hoped for?
Now, I got to the end of this game and I had to just go lie down and reflect on the journey that I'd just been on. Naughty Dog really are master storytellers and have crafted a gameplay experience so beautifully balanced with its action and its narrative, and on a scale that greatly surpasses anything they've achieved before. You know, I feel like some people just don't realize that this is where games are at now. I think even my parents don't realize fully what I do for a living, and I kind of want to show them this game and say, this is what games are now.
Yes, it is a pretty good time to be a gamer.
Oh, man. Besides reviewing games each week, we're also incredibly lucky on the show to be able to experience huge gaming events like E3 and Tokyo Game Show.
What just happened?
You're up next, Bajo. And getting to interact with all of you guys at signings and live shows is a massive plus as well. After all, it's you that truly make the show a success.
This may be a good buzzer.
Hi, everyone.
Joe, you got us so
Well, that's it for the show. I hope you enjoyed a look back at some of my favourite gaming moments, as well as some much-loved good game memories from over the past half-decade. I will, of course, see you next time, but until then, may all your games be good ones. Hex out.
Thanks, Hex. I'll take over from here.
Bajo, your special is next week. So
Hi, I'm TV's Bajo, and welcome to my special. Prepare yourself for a journey.
Next week.
You may even learn a little bit about yourself along the way. Coming up...